Hello, I'm Sean McAngus, and welcome back to another episode of the Highland League podcast. Today's guest is Force Mechanics midfielder Jordan Alonge. In this podcast, he talks about his youth days at Crystal Palace, playing in America, trials in Turkey, arriving in the Highland League, his future ambitions, and much more. Hope you enjoy this interview. What would you say were your kind of earliest memories of playing football?
I'll just say, I grew up in Southwest London. I actually didn't join a team until quite late. For a lot of people join at like 6, 7, but I actually joined the team around 10, 11. But just before that, I just grew up playing five-a-side and street cage football and stuff. So,
Yeah, so how did the kind of opportunity come about with Crystal Palace? How did that?
so I was at Crystal Palace for from 12 to 13, and then that prior to that, I joined like a local club called Lambeth Tigers, and the coach of that team was did some youth coaching for Crystal Palace as well. So he kind of liaised me into the Crystal Palace development part of it, and then I managed to get in and play a few games for them. But that was only for a year. Um, and then I moved to Bromley, their youth team. So I played about 3, 4 years at Bromley, um, and then I went into semi-pro, like a semi-pro men's team at around 16, 17. So, and then after that, I took the chance to go to the US for that scholarship program. But yeah, that's the main teams that I played for. It's a good experience. I think the local team was good because it was just local talent, and
Hmm.
the coach is probably the coach now. He's at Man City now, but he was I learned a lot of like the fundamental basics from him, and the way he everything was so technical, and like almost he drilled it into the plays, the way football can be played, can be simplified. So I enjoyed that a lot, going from Lambeth Tigers to Crystal Palace and then into Bromley. Um, so yeah, that was
Yes.
most of my youth career.
Yeah, so in terms of Crystal Palace, was there anyone you remembered from your time? Obviously, you were only there a year. Was there anyone who
Yeah,
went on for careers that you
it
played
was
with?
it was like 12, 13. So I do remember the players that were there. I'm not sure where they are now, but they're probably around like National League level, or a few of them are around that level. I don't know any that had gone straight to the top, but a lot are around third, fourth, fifth division teams in the UK. So, well, not a lot, but a few of the guys that I know. But still a really high level down in England. So
Yeah, how was that playing semi-professional down there? What's the level like down?
it was good. It's like semi-pro is like the men's. Um, so I started at like 16, 17, and I was just playing with kind of like men's football. So it was a huge step physically because everyone's kind of bigger than me. I wasn't always as physical as I am now. I was quite a small attacking midfielder when I was younger, but um, the physical part of it was the biggest step to jump, I think. And then of course just like thinking one step ahead before you got the ball, and taking pride in not losing the ball and stuff
Hmm.
like that is a huge part of it, of being responsible, like being able to retain the ball. at that level. I think it was good to learn and take pride in.
Yeah, so how much, and you mentioned the physical aspect, how much did that kind of toughen you up and prepare you for where you've gone now, would you say?
It was a good part of it. Like good part of it was, I mean, I was playing, yeah, mostly attacking midfielder. So a lot of the defenders I'd come up against would, they wouldn't take it easy, and I would have a lot of knocks most games. But your body almost adapts to it and get used to shielding the ball and protecting yourself in the best way possible. And that shaped me a lot, honestly, going into my next journey which was the US, like going to the US. Um, it was quite an easy transition to go over there, and um, the level of football was really good as well because most of the people that were playing football there were internationals, and it was kind of like a big melting pot for
Yeah.
for football globally. So it was a good level, and yeah, that playing semi-pro definitely did prepare me well for going into that journey.
Yeah, so how did the kind of move to America come about?
It was a tough decision, even now when I look back on it. But I was I was in a position whereby I hadn't signed a full-time contract yet, and that was my aim, and I wanted to get into maybe an under 23 setup, um, and I had a few options uh, through an agent that reached out to me. But in that summer of 2018, like an agency reached out and said you you could fit the profile for a lot of these schools in the US, and it would just be you would get your degree at the same time, and yeah, the lifestyle would be, yeah, you would get your degree paid for, and your expenses kind of covered. So it was attractive, and the aim being to go there and try and make it to the highest level, which is the MLS over there.
Yeah.
So that was the aim, and that's in 2018. That's what I set out to do. It was it was to get to the highest level in the US. Um, and it wasn't until I got there I realized that you really have to commit to the program of where you're going, and so whether that's the 4 years that you're there, 5 years, it will be at the end of that when most of the players would have the opportunity to get into the MLS draft, or
Yeah.
or where a lot of teams would be looking for players that senior players of their university to select for their teams. So, but prior, I was hoping that I can just play 2 years in university and then go
Mm.
go for a trial or just prove myself.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that was the aim and the goal. And off, I went to Kansas for 2 years and then did 3 years in New Jersey. And at the end of that, I managed to get a trial for Charlotte FC, their second team,
Oh
um,
yeah.
which is in the MLS Next Pro League. And that was the aim, to just give everything to that, and hopefully be able to sign a contract. But unfortunately, it was a tough and competitive pool, of players that I was competing up against, and then the visa the visa spots for international players um, came to be a big barrier for me, just because
Mm.
there's almost, you're fighting for seven positions on that visa visa list. So it just made it a lot tougher and a lot more precise from what the coaches wanted out of a player, you know. So there's a lot of factors that went into it. But that's the football industry. It's not.
Yeah.
I realized then it wasn't only about talent, you know, or like who's the
Mm.
better player, but it did have to a lot of parts had to come together perfectly to make it happen. Um, so yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out. But that summer I continued to play in summer league for a team in Canada, which was like a 4 or 5 month not yeah 4 month league where you play a certain amount of games and then that's all over the US and Canada. So um, did that, but halfway through I got an opportunity through an intermediary to go for a trial out in Turkey. So I took that opportunity and was a great experience. I honestly thought that was the one where I was thinking that this could work out just because of I was confident in the way I played and confident in the environment. You know, it's a beautiful country and like they love football over there. So it was um, it was looking good, you know, and I had a direct connection. But in the end, the same thing occurred whereby the visa sponsorship was came to be a barrier, and then yeah, them just wanting another younger or more marketable player. So after that, I came back to London, just regrouped a bit, and just went on trial for a few teams, kept training. Um, my Most of the training I was doing was at Hampton and Richmond, which are in National League South,
No.
and that went really well. You know, like I was enjoying it. But unfortunately, at the time, they just weren't. They had a full squad, so uh, yeah, wasn't able to sign there. But after that, got in touch with my uncle up here, and then he kind of liaised me into getting two contacts up here through Rothes and then Forest. It was almost like I didn't really have a clue of anything, so I just spoke to both managers. But at the time, the Rothes one made more sense, um, just from the conversation I had with the manager. But in the end, it actually backfired, and I quickly realized that Rothes wasn't the place for me, and then I got in touch with Steve McDonald, and he kind of helped me a lot to get out of that situation there, and then just settle in at Forest. So
Yeah. So why do you think it didn't work out at their office? Was there just different factors or just
yeah, it was just a really young squad. There wasn't much experience, and I think they were they were going through a big rebuild. I heard they'd lost a lot of experienced players the year before, which I understand and it makes sense. But then they weren't able to replace those players, you know, and almost felt like I was just playing just like a lonely game almost out on the pitch,
Hmm.
uh, just yeah, not on the same track as most of the other players, or uh, just yeah, some a lot of them weren't capable of playing at the level that I think I can play at. So um, yeah, I mean that was mostly the only reason why I had to look elsewhere. And the ex manager there as well had a tough job as well. You know, he was I know he had a career in football, but I don't think it it translated almost to the pitch on the managerial side where I could manage effectively the players that he had. So um, yeah, the results didn't lie,
Hmm.
and I think I won one out. We won 1 out of 6 games or something, 1 out of 5 games. I'm not sure, but the game we did win was like we had to like battle that one out to the end against Nern. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I was just really glad to keep the contact of Steve, and he was able to help me get out of that situation.
Yeah. So what was your kind of first impression of Highland League football when you first played in it?
It was a big. I mean, like I said at Rothes, it was like, wow, this is not really the level that I think I can be playing at, especially on my team. But um, it was the physical aspect of it was the biggest change, whereby you're not given as many fouls. It's really fast paced, whereby it's just up and down,
Hmm.
and it's a lot harder to control the tempo of the game with a lot of the teams, just because uh, the the ball is not you're not moving the ball as smoothly or um, as calculated as it can be. So it's just you kind of have to adapt. You're always adapting at every moment in the game to any change or any tackle. Or when you lose possession, you have to get it back quickly and or defend on a counter attack really, really fast. And it's the transition can be really fast. Um, but yeah, that's the big thing: the physicality and the high pace of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. How important has that helped you a lot in terms of fitness wise, or would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I had to realize that you can't switch off at any point and almost like just drift a bit. You can't drift in the games, or like because I typically I like more of a calculated, slower paced game whereby you can really control what you can control. But um, I think the uncertainty of everything has helped me physically to, like taking a few months for me to get my body in shape um, for the Highland League. So um, it's more. I wouldn't necessarily say more running, but I would say it's more. Uh, there's more like the transitions. So it's like you lose the ball, you have to get it back quickly. You're on the defense, you're on the attack. It's not you're not just doing your one job. You're almost doing a lot of jobs at the same time. So um, it's definitely made me more an all-round physical player, I think.
Yeah. So how much have you been enjoying it at Forest, and what do you think's been the difference there for yourself?
Yeah, it's great at Forest. The team and the community is great. There's a few characters in the dressing room that always help the team bond, bond a little bit better. So I think yeah, Steve managed to put together a good side for the season, and I think we've improved from the results last season. Um, Although I still think that we could be in a or we should be in a higher position, but I think it's more of our mistakes that have
Hmm.
caused us to kind of just be dead in the middle of the table. But but yeah, I think yeah, I'm enjoying I've enjoyed it. It comes to the end of the season now, but I've enjoyed it a lot with the guys, and um, yeah, they definitely welcomed me into like the Highland atmosphere really well.
Yeah. So who would you say are the biggest characters in the dressing room? Would you say?
Everyone has their own qualities and personalities, but definitely the more out of themselves characters, probably I would say, uh, you know, the striker from Borough, who came from Borough, Kyle McLeod, and and probably Charlie McDonald and I actually met Charlie at Rothes, which was good because I was really happy that he was able to get he was part of the deal to 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 get me over to Forest. So I was I was happy that worked out for us. But yeah, I'd definitely say those two um, big they're the big almost characters in the dressing room. So um, yeah.
So how is the dynamic with the obviously you got the manager and your two coaches because they're quite would you say they're quite different people? You've got the co a management team in terms of
Yeah, so we have Steve, head coach, and we have our two assistant coaches, Mark Holmes and Dave, uh, Davey. So I think the balance has worked out pretty well. Um, Dave joined us a lot later into the season, but he's been a big help for Steve in terms of player management and games and tactical strategy. So, uh, but yeah, Mark Holmes is the. I'll definitely say he's the vibrant uplifter part of the management team, and then Steve does a great job with player management and um, yeah, managing a team. There's a lot of aspects that go into it that can be actually overlooked and undervalued, but he does a great job of making everything run smoothly. Um, and then yeah, Dave's more of the tactical guy with his experience in football as well. So
yeah,
uh,
what would you say is the kind of biggest things you've learned from them, either, player, in terms of your game or
mm,
in particular in terms of football?
I think, well, especially up here, traveling from England to Scotland, it's a huge. Like I didn't think the transition would be as big as it was in terms of style of play and culture, and it's a huge contrast. Um, so I think he's helped Steve uh, specifically has helped me a lot, with almost seamlessly coming into the Highland League and giving me the best advice and tips on how to play um, and how to get the most out of games, um, especially on the score sheet and getting into spaces where I can be effective. But yeah, I think he definitely, just from his experience as well in the Highland League, he definitely, yeah, he helped me a lot just to understand the way it's played up here almost, and um, yeah, how I can use my qualities to help Forest. So.
Yeah, how important? Because I remember reading an article with someone else that he said that he wants to help you, get to the highest,
Mm.
level possible. How important was that in terms of coming to Forest?
Yeah, I think football's a tough industry whereby it's a small percentage of players that are able to play professionally and full time, and I mean, a lot of players, you always hear a lot of players that don't make it, and but they were great players, and um, for whatever reasons, no one really knows. But in the end, you're still. I think I'm in a position whereby I still believe I could make it to that full time status, and give everything uh, to the game. Almost Steve was a big part of me saying yes to Forest just because I really wanted to go somewhere whereby I can move on within a year or two, and he was really clear on facilitating that. So yeah, I mean, in the end, it's all on me to perform and prove that I can play at a full-time level. Um, but yeah, he's and a lot of the things I've noticed as well is that you need a lot of assistance and help in football in order to get to the next level. And when someone's there to help you genuinely, it can really benefit you a lot. So
Yeah, so looking back again on what were your kind of biggest learning curves from your trials with MLS and Turkey experience.
yeah, I've traveled. I feel like I've traveled quite a lot over the past six years, and I think the biggest thing I realized is that not everywhere football is one language almost, but football isn't played the same in every single
Mm.
country, and there's a lot of things and moving parts that go into being part of a team. It's just really knowing where you can help, where you can be most used effectively, can really help you in getting that contract or getting that position that you want. So like it's like almost any other job. Yeah, traveling around. I think the highest level I played at was in the MLS and Turkey. So going there for months and training with these type of players who are technically very gifted. You realize that there's a level. It's almost like an unconditional level that you have to be at in order to be at that level, to play at that level professionally. So that sticks with me, because it's like you have to give everything, every training session, every match. You have to prove almost as if it's your last. That definitely helps me think about, how I could make it to the next level in terms of training, giving my best, and making sure even at the Highland League level, doing all the extras, going to the gym, physio work, eating right, was treat acting like a professional before you are a professional. So that's what I'm still persevering towards, and still have the desire for.
Yeah, so whereabouts in Turkey were you on trial at?
In the capital, Ankara, for a second division team there. It was Ankara, Keçiören, and Guku. And yeah, they were in the capital, like right in there. Because people think of Turkey as Istanbul
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. That's
south, south, southwest coast, where it's like really beautiful and stuff. But I was more in the central land but really, really beautiful city as well, and nice, easy going, nice pace, and they love football. So yeah, that's where I was at for that. Was for like pre-season, so it was about two months there.
I remember you were in the UHL league, which is below the MLS. How was that in terms of quality, playing in that?
USL two, which is the summer league. That league is basically a summer league, which is over four months. That a lot of the college players play at, can be really helpful for keeping fit and really sharpening your skills for the next season almost. And yeah, a lot of those clubs have connections with professional teams, which helps them move on to that professional level there to go into the USL One or USL Championship. So that can pay off, going to those summer leagues and working hard. I did a summer league in Michigan for one of the years, in Minnesota, in New York. So I was around a lot, but it's more of I would say it's more of a league where like a development, like a
Mm.
maintenance league where you have to keep
Yeah.
playing and keep sharpening your skills. So
No.
but I think the level is really good there, and a lot of great players, and a lot of now professional players played in the USL too over the summers, and um, yeah, it's a great opportunity
Yeah.
for quite.
Anyone you remember playing against particular or?
Well, yeah, there's a few players who I played with who are now in USL Championship and
No.
MLS teams. So 4 or 5 that I know personally that made it out to that level. Being a US citizen helps a lot,
Yeah.
because you don't require that international visa spot. But yeah, like they were good level players. A few international guys, one from England, one from Spain. Yeah, and they're on their journey, trying to make it to the highest level. So, but I think the thing that gives me confidence is that you've performed with good players before, whether it's in training or on trial. You've played at that level, so for me, I know that I can maintain that level. It's just getting that opportunity where I can be used at a team. So
Yeah. Is your eyes open to basically any opportunity at the moment? It's not really a set path that you've got in mind in terms of, whether that's abroad or Scotland.
yeah, it's not anywhere. And for now, I'm putting my energy into Scotland. I came up here. That was my choice. I think I can play at the highest level in Scotland. So I don't even. There's a football is a it's a it's a huge business. So I understand the levels you have to make your way up, and my journey is different from someone else's journey. And but I know that what I need is really that one chance to be able to prove myself at the next level, and then hopefully just keep performing and proving myself right.
Before you signed for Forest, was there much interest to go elsewhere or?
So I was speaking to an intermediary in Spain, and he was almost helping me, trying to get me some trials over there. But in the end, it's almost as if my focus was really on the UK and just coming back to my roots almost,
Yeah.
like just like being done with all the legal parts of it, and just focusing on let me try and integrate into a team and keep playing games, scoring goals, and then hopefully make my way up in which where I really want to play, which is here, So it's the most competitive leagues, in England, and I think I can play at that level. I'm hoping that this summer can be, the turning point where I can go full time with football and not have to. I mean, still most likely keep my hands busy, but
Hmm.
I have the choice, almost have more of an option with what I can do.
Yeah. Has there been, I mean, do you know, has there been much interest in you so far from club?
Yeah, no, I mean, you always hear, and people are watching, and there's even at the Highland League level, people come to watch, and I think that's the good thing about up here is that there's almost no discrimination to the league, almost whereby, like Highland League is, there are players who have gone up from Highland League and shown that they can play, whether it's Scottish League you know, or down south in England. So Steve has his connections as well, and his past because he played Scottish League in Elgin and
Aye, aye, yeah.
for a bit and Thistle when they were split up. So we'll see what opportunities come. But I know that just for now until the end of the season, it's just making sure that I keep playing at a high level, within my own game. Not really worrying about what's next. Just let that come naturally, almost. So
Yeah. So who, like so far at Forest, what have been your like highlights? Has there been like certain goals that you've enjoyed the most or
yeah, I mean,
engaged?
I really enjoyed my debut goal against Fraserburgh. Fraserburgh was it's almost like a relief, just to get off the mark in the Highland League and be at a team where it shows you that I can really have those moments, of scoring well worked goals. But it was just a nice memory. I think the one recently against Banks of the was probably the best one I scored so far. But it was a tough one between those two. I think the one at Fraserburgh I played off Kyle McLeod and he held it up and then just flicked it around and I carried on
Mm.
the middle and then just was able to finish it. Banks OD was more of an individual goal, I made from kind of nothing in the midfield. So, but yeah, I think in terms of that one, that probably looked a lot better in the banks of the Eagle. Just dribbling from the halfway line and then getting the shot off. So
Thanks for listening to this interview with Jordan. He's certainly been a standout player in league this season. I look forward to see where his career progresses. To keep up to date with the latest episodes, subscribe on your chosen podcasting platform and hope you can join me next time for another interesting interview.